Hello, Internet viewers. I'm the fairly OddGamer. You know, it's been a while since I last talked about Disney, but I can assure you that there's absolutely no way that could... Why would Disney do this? Wait, that's not Disney at all! It looks ugly and creepy and... Ugh! Get it away! Get it away! Ah, much better. Let's talk about Winnie the Pooh. One of the most popular characters in children's literature, Winnie the Pooh first appeared in a short poem in 1924 by author A.A. Milne, but it would be turned into a series of books 2 years later. It became an immediate hit for those who read it around the world, not just in Britain, but also in America. It wasn't until over a half a century later in which the lovable teddy bear was turned into a full-length animated feature film by none other than Walt Disney, even though he passed away in 1968. But even then, the film became a huge success for critics as well as audiences. Since then, it has spawned numerous movies, TV shows, whether animated or live action, even as puppets, theme park appearances, and even a live stage show in New York. And as previously mentioned, a horror movie about the cuddly stuffed bear is in the works. Why? Because earlier this year, the original book by Milne became public domain in the US, which resulted in Disney no longer holding the film rights.
It's horrible. Horrible.
Couldn't agree more.
Just horrible.
And of course, with a highly known franchise, lots of video game tie-ins were made. So how about I review a game based on an animated movie from 2003 that relates to Pooh? Well, there is one that comes to mind, and that is a video game tie-in to Piglet's Big Movie. I actually remember seeing it in the theater when it came out, though I don't really remember where I saw it. However, I do remember owning the movie on VHS, but unfortunately my VCR broke with the tape in it, so both the tape and the VCR had to be thrown out. But other than that, I liked Piglet's Big Movie. It had a compelling story, a great moral for kids to learn, and an amazing soundtrack provided by Carly Simon. When the movie came out in March 2003, it became a hit for kids and adults. However, it didn't earn as much money as their last film encounter, the Tigger movie from 2000. It wasn't until recently that I got my hands on its video game tie-in, Piglet's Big Game. For this review, I'll be looking at the GameCube version, released 2 days after its world premiere, but 3 days before the movie got released in theaters. But is this game as good as the movie it was based on? Let's find out. After seeing the Disney Interactive logo, we see that the game was developed by Doki Donkey Studio and was published by... Gotham Games? Huh, maybe that's where Bruce Wayne put his money into. Then we get to the title screen. Seems basic enough. And immediately the game begins. Well, with an intro cutscene. It's autumn in the 100-acre wood, and everyone is preoccupied. How, you may ask? Well, Kanga does some autumn cleaning. Rue's playing with his blue bouncy ball. Owl tries to find his book of memories. Rabbit tries to gather more carrots. Pooh tries to gather honey from the hive. And Tigger tries to paint a tree orange.
But what about me?
Oh, of course. Eeyore's having a gloomy day of putting together his house of sticks.
Typical.
Hold on. Is the game talking to me right now?
I don't think so. It's best that you look from behind.
Oh my gosh! Eeyore?
Hello, gamer. I didn't think you'd notice me.
Oh, come on, Eeyore. You may be gloomy on the outside, but at least you're soft and cuddly on the inside.
You really think so?
Of course, Eeyore.
That's very kind of you. I did notice that you were talking about my good friend Pooh.
Well, yes, but I'm actually playing Piglet's Big Game.
Based on Piglet's Big Movie?
Yes! How did you know that?
Lucky guess.
Well, would you care to stick around for a bit?
I wouldn't mind much. There's nothing much to do anyway.
Thanks, Eeyore. Where was I? Oh yeah, Piglet sees a shadowy monster behind a pile of leaves, which happens to be...
Brontosaurus!
Not to be confused with a dinosaur from Yu-Gi-Oh! Though to be fair, I'd be scared of that too. Unfortunately, it goes away just before the others can catch a glimpse of it. So therefore, nobody, not even Christopher Robin, believes in what Piglet is scared of.
It's just your imagination. What a frightened little piglet you are.
Christopher Robin tells Piglet to face his fears because there may be a hero inside of Piglet. as well as needing to believe in himself. But because of the preoccupations from today, Piglet was forgotten by his friends and decided to leave the 100-acre wood alone and depressed. Nice pout face, by the way.
That's pretty much me every day.
Normally when a game is released before the movie's release, you'd more than likely be spoiled because it would either follow the plot of the movie or in some cases take place after the events of the movie. But this game, well, even though the plot is different from the movie, it does contain some story elements from the movie. And I think it works because there's really no need for spoilers. But before starting, you can either load your previous save game by walking to a scrapbook from the movie, or start a new game by walking up to Gopher. And by the way, Gopher never showed up in the movie. Of course, I am fairly OP. In order to actually start the game, you have to walk up to the telescope and select a friend to go into their dreams. Remind you of anyone? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that before Piglet left the 100-acre wood, Pooh and Roo began to drift off into dreamland. So let's start with Pooh's dream because why not? Each level begins with a cutscene showing one of Piglet's friends dreaming while hearing their thoughts.
I could do with a smackerel of honey now. Just a small jar. Or 2 or 3.
And of course, they brought in the voice actors from the movie to reprise the roles, such as Jim Cummings for Pooh and Tigger, Nikita Hopkins as Roo, Cass Sosi as Kanga, Andrei Stochka as Owl, Tom Wheatley as Christopher Robin, and Eeyore voiced by Optimus Prime himself, Peter Cullen.
Autobots, engage.
Plus the late Ken Sansom as Rabbit, and even the late John Fiedler came to reprise Piglet. Also, I'm glad they brought back the late Laurie Mann for the narrator. It feels more natural in my opinion. In this game you play as Piglet. Well, it's not called Piglet's Big Game for nothing.
Why couldn't there be a movie based on me? Oh well.
You move with the control stick, A to kick because you can't jump in this game, and you can use any one of 3 items with B, Y, and or X. Kicking on certain items lets out cookies for you to collect, and each object contains 5 cookies. If you're not able to collect all of them before they disappear, you can just kick the object again and collect all the cookies you weren't able to get. Owl tells Piglet that Pooh is on the other side of the gate, which magically opens. After collecting more cookies as well as pushing away for making a bridge, we find Pooh stuck in some caramel, all because Rabbit thought this would be the place to find some honey.
At least I think that's what he told me. But now that I think about it some more, I could be mistaken.
But Piglet does free Pooh with the lollipop stick, as he follows Pooh back to the first area where Rabbit's house is. But there's only one small problem. The entrance is blocked off by a ball of cotton candy. Wait, I have an idea. How about eating the whole thing?
There's much too much to eat.
So much for that idea. Luckily there happens to be a spray bottle filled with water, but unfortunately our little Piglet is too small to reach the handle. However, Pooh is here to save the day by spraying the cotton candy away. Since Pooh wants to go back to find some honey, it's up to Piglet to find Rabbit and retrieve some honey for Pooh.
Oh, and also, Piglet, you know there may be lumps in there. I suppose perhaps you should be rather careful. Lumps.
You heard right, Piglet. There is a heffalump on the loose, and they want to scare you. Whenever you approach a heffalump or a woozle, which we'll get to later, you trigger Grimace mode by pressing A. However, it's best to give Piglet as much distance as possible, because you're then given a sequence of buttons to press in order to have Piglet perform a brave face to scare off the heffalump or woozle. But in order to gain some distance, you have to find every cookie in each specific area of the level. But if you're too close, they will scare you, therefore losing a life. You have 3 lives in total, and losing all of them will take you back to the first area of the dream you're currently in. Luckily, you can regain your lives by walking to these heart-shaped balloons with Christopher Robin's face on them. It triggers a cutscene in which Christopher Robin can cheer Piglet up, which makes him feel more brave. After Piglet scares away the heffalump via raspberry, the heffalump turns into a bottle that Piglet has to get. Luckily, some of these bottles can open up new areas for Piglet to explore. Anyway, Piglet uses a candle to melt the chocolate door, which leads to a kitchen of some sort. It's here where you find Rabbit, who tells Piglet that he's out of fresh honey. So where exactly can we find more honey?
More honey? Well, there is some next to the beehive. Oh, but it's quite dangerous, Piglet. The bees won't let you near their honey unless you find some way to get them away from their beehive.
And that's exactly what he does. Except there's one more thing to mention. You see that carnival-like booth? That's the Brave Face factory where you can purchase a new Brave Face for Piglet. And how do you purchase them, you ask? With the cookies you found, of course.
We will accept your cookies as payment.
Each factory contains one Brave Face, and you have to purchase all of them in order to beat the game. So in order to lure the bees away from their hive, Piglet has to push a wooden container filled with fruit where the sparkling circle is. Once that's done, then it's time to get some honey. Right after Rabbit gives you his key that unlocks a cupboard that holds a honey pot. And then you fill the honey pot with honey in it to give to Pooh, while trying to scare off more heffalumps and woozles.
Piglet, I don't suppose you did find a bit of honey by any chance, did you?
Oh, look, Pooh, it's just for you.
Oh, yum. Honey.
So despite fighting heffalumps and woozles, Piglet was able to find Pooh some honey. Also, each level ends with another cutscene of them sleeping. Only this time, they thank Piglet for his bravery and hard work. Let's move on to Roo's dream, in which he can't seem to reach his blue bouncy ball from the tree branch, and that's what Piglet has to do. But Kanga's worried because she can't find her little Roo. So she tells Piglet to find him because, well, he has to clean his room. It's a mother thing. Just like the previous level, Piglet has to wander around kicking items for cookies and scaring off heffalumps and woozles via Brave Faces. Eventually, he runs into Tigger on the other side of a fence, preventing him from, what else? Bouncing.
And a Tigger that can't bounce? Why, he's no Tigger at all.
The only way to lower the fence is to have Tigger sneak his way to a pull tab without being detected by heffalumps and woozles. This leads to a new gameplay mechanic, Metal Gear Tigger. Dun 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 dun. While sneaking around, you can also bounce and hide in small areas to avoid detection. Plus, each heffalump and woozle has a searchlight on the ground to make it a little easier. But if you are detected, Tigger gets scared and you try to run away from it. Otherwise, yeah, that happens. But at least you get to try again, from the beginning. Luckily, Tigger makes his way to the pull tab, therefore lowering the fence. As for the heffalumps and woozles that Tigger had to avoid, you guessed it, Piglet can scare each of them off via Brave Face. This is what they get for scaring our bouncing Tigger. He makes his way to Roo's playhouse with Roo locked from behind with no key to get out. So where's the key, you may ask? All the way back to the house where we started. Basically, each level in this game has backtracking here and there. It's not as bad as the annoying Kelp Forest mission and Battle from Bikini Bottom, but they're much better than the ones from Superman 64. Anyway, Piglet asks Kanga if she knows where the key to Roo's playroom is, but she doesn't. But while she looks for it, Piglet is tasked to clean up the room by kicking everywhere, gathering up all the cookies in the area.
What a wonderful job you've done, Piglet. You cleaned up every last cookie. And I've found the key. So here you are.
Wait, did Kanga have the key in her house this whole time? Did she deliberately lock Roo up in his own playroom? Nah, she wouldn't do that. So with the key in hand, Piglet makes his way back to Roo's playroom and unlocks the door to free Roo. But wait! Roo still needs his ball stuck on a couple of cardboard clouds. The good news is there's a ladder. The bad news is it's missing a rung. But on the bright side, Eeyore has some wood that could work for a ladder like this. But wait! I have some wood right here. Why can't I just use that? Well, guess what? The wood that Piglet has now is not needed for a ladder like this. With a conspicuously placed eraser, he can erase the rock blocked in an area in which Piglet releases chains that make a hive. This releases the bee heffalump, or as I call it, the heffa bee. Oh hey, a heffalump from the original movie. And before I forget, every new Brave Face you purchase becomes more difficult to execute. After scaring off the heffa bee, we then find Eeyore, who's also looking for wood to build his house with. In order to reach the lonesome stick, Piglet has to pull each tab in the correct order for stairs to pop up. Oh, and remember that wood I wanted to use earlier? Well, with a bit of glue, I can paste the cardboard onto the pull tab and grab the wood for Roo's ladder.
You sure are good at that, Piglet. Now you can fix the ladder for Roo.
By the way, did Eeyore ever have teeth?
If I ever did, then I sure don't remember.
Back at Roo's house, Piglet places the missing rung as he climbs the ladder and retrieves Roo's ball, and therefore ending the level. Or so you think, because a new woozle snatches the ball away from Roo and transforms the cardboard door into a monster door. Just like the heffalumps and woozles, Piglet can scare off the door via Brave Face. So the magical door leads to an area in which Piglet has to scare off 3 hide-and-seek woozles, which is only protected by hiding his head behind his cape. So strategy is key when fighting against them. After defeating the woozles, the ball magically comes back and Roo is happy once again, therefore ending the level. For real this time! But now it is Owl and Eeyore that have fallen asleep, while Rabbit still counts as carrots and Tigger paints the tree orange.
I sure am tired. Hey, gamer.
What is it, Eeyore?
Would it be okay if I slept on your bed? I've been sleeping on the grass under locks for so long, but this looks rather nice.
Sure. Be my guest.
Thanks, gamer.
Up next we have Owl, who can't seem to find his memory book, which gives him amnesia. But first we see Gopher, voiced by Michael J. Goff, who tells Piglet that Owl's house is just behind these giant blast doors. Any more help you can provide for Piglet?
Sorry, nope, too big a project. I'm much too busy. Got tunnels to dig, you know.
Son, you're on your own.
So Piglet makes a staircase via books as we find Pooh locked in a prison, I think. So Piglet asks Pooh where he can find a chessboard to open the blast door that leads to Owl's house. While it is farther down the library, Pooh has to press the button to open the gate. And like Tigger, he has to reach the button without being detected by heffalumps. This leads to the sequel of Metal Gear Tigger, Metal Gear Pooh. Well, that didn't take long now, did it? So instead of being Metal Gear Solid, Pooh has to avoid getting scared of heffalumps and woozles by perfecting the Joestar secret technique. Pooh manages to reach the button and therefore opens the gate, giving Piglet the opportunity to scare off the heffalumps and woozles that try to scare off Pooh, which destroys woozle statues. Piglet makes his way to the chessboard where he runs into Gopher again.
4 tons of ground multiplied by 123 wheelbarrows. Snipperin' sassafras.
Gopher, you're about this close to a lawsuit from Warner Brothers. Of course, Gopher got there via an underground tunnel he dug up, so he finally decides to help out Piglet. In order to open the blast door, you have to play chess by having Piglet push the rook and therefore
Checkmate.
opening the doors that lead to Owl's house. And that's exactly where he heads off to next. But Owl has absolutely no idea who Piglet is, where he is, who he is, or what's going on, unless he finds his book of memories.
But obviously, I can't remember where it is.
That's almost as bad as Neville Longbottom with his Remember-All.
The only problem is, I can't remember what I've forgotten.
Luckily, Piglet is here to help restore Owl's memory. If Piglet can find the lost paintings of Owl's missing ancestors, he can then gain access to Owl's memory book. But to get the lost paintings, you have to explore different areas and solve puzzles, whether a Rube Goldberg machine or by pushing a treasure chest that appears after scaring off a monster tree. After putting back the paintings, the passage to Owl's memory book is revealed behind a grandfather clock. He makes his way to the memory book in a dark room which makes a magical rug roll up. With a candle at hand, he has to light every candle in the room in order to have the rug lead Piglet to Owl's memory book. But you better be quick because there's also a time limit. At long last, Piglet gives Owl back the memory book, which makes Owl a very happy nocturnal creature. Well, Eeyore, looks like we're gonna find out what your dream's about.
It figures. All the colors have gone away.
I wonder if the gamer will find all the colors for me.
Piglet runs into Roo with a lantern, who tells Piglet that Eeyore's dream is very gloomy. His dream world is very dark and creepy, sort of like the scary woods in the Book of Pooh. After scaring away a tree, Piglet pushes a pumpkin, revealing a key under a happy mat that unlocks the gate where he finds a bell in which he rings it to open a secret staircase down to the inner realms of Eeyore's house. I have to say that this house looks kind of elegant, even though it is still creepy.
Who'd have thought? My house would end up being the haunted mansion.
Even the camera in the hallway is a little convoluted because it looks like I'm in a slant. Anyway, Piglet does find Eeyore, who is depressed because all the colors in his dream have disappeared. which Eeyore is accustomed to. So it's up to Piglet to rescue the colors in Eeyore's dream.
Piglet,
Yes, Eeyore?
thanks for noticing me.
Hey, he said the thing! Of course, you have to solve some puzzles and even pick up a few items along the way to help you find the colors. They include pushing the statues in their places, jacking at the faucets, making one pop out to fix a fountain, rotating large paintings, even open up a bottle with a corkscrew, and catch a running feather under a time limit, which you can use to tickle the headless statue. But catching the colors is not going to be easy because you have to corner them in order to catch them. All the colors are stored in Eeyore's dream, which means the level is still going on. A gust of wind blows out every candle and the doors are locked, except for the entrance. So what happens now? You guessed it, backtracking! Get the lantern from Rue and make your way back to the dark room and light up every candle. And oh great, the monster door again. Apparently it comes in every 2 levels just to scare Piglet away. So after scaring out the monster door again, a trapdoor opens on the floor, which Piglet falls through. However, Piglet has to scare not 1, not 2, but 3 new heffalumps called tuba heffalumps, also from the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Piglet,
Oh, Eeyore, it's only you.
sorry to have frightened you. Seems to happen a lot.
So Eeyore thanks Piglet for not only restoring the colors in his dream, but also for lighting up the candles again, as well as having no more heffalumps in his house.
Would you look at that? The colors have returned and a sunny day has come at last. Thank you, Piglet. And you too, gamer.
Maybe I should wake Eeyore up from his little nap. Psst. Eeyore.
Huh? Oh, sorry, gamer. I was just having the strangest dream. All the colors were gone and
Eeyore, I just talked about your dream. You slept through it.
me sleeping through my own dream. I don't know what you mean by that. Probably best not to know anyway.
Well, I'm glad that you're up.
Good to know. So what happens next?
Glad you asked, Eeyore. As the 100-acre wood starts to rain, Rabbit is worried about his carrot and tries to run off only to clunk his head on a tree branch. As for Tigger, his foot gets stuck in orange paint but spills all over him, making him lose his stripes. But at least the rain washes the paint off while he's knocked out.
Even without stripes, he's still Tigger to me. Trust me, I've seen him like this before.
Let's move on to Rabbit's dream next. He wants to get his carrots to safety before it rains, and that's exactly what Piglet has to do. We see Rabbit worried about his carrots being flooded unless he gets his carrot extractor working again.
Oh, what a disaster!
But the extractor backfires and sticks Rabbit into the dirt, and of course needs Piglet's help.
Help me!
Piglet ventures through a cave where he once again finds Gopher by a hole, who tells Piglet that the extractor is missing a cog further down the cave. Only one problem. He doesn't have the key. Well, that's a shame, but at least I found some birdseed. And this is where I got lost, until I found out there's another area southeast of the first area. It's here where he finds Tigger again. Only this time, he wants Tigger to find a way to cross the stream, river that is. This leads to another Metal Gear Tigger.
Dun 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 dun.
Eventually, Tigger finds a raft which helps Piglet cross the river. Not a bad idea there, Tigger. Speaking of woozles, there's a new woozle called the Mirror Woozle, which I honestly can't stand because it rotates your screen in any direction possible. Unless you can turn your head pressing the right buttons, all I can say is good luck. Anyway, Piglet crosses the river where he finds a bird that holds the key Gopher was talking about. Luckily, you can trade in some birdseed for the key, which he uses to open a door that helps him find small cogs with legs. Similar to the feather, you have to catch them by cornering them. But unlike the feather, there's no time limit. Thank goodness. Catching all the small cogs transforms them into a giant cog, which he then places into the carrot extractor. But in order to get it running, Piglet has to turn on 3 switches as quickly as possible due to the pressure system. So of course there's a time limit for it. At long last, the carrot extractor starts working again, which means he can go back to Rabbit and finish up the job. Well, except the machine sucks up the carrots and Rabbit into the machine. And also, the machine stopped working right after it started. Luckily, the key that Rabbit dropped leads to a boiler that can make the machine run again. However, Piglet is introduced to yet another new Heffalump, a unicycling slot machine Heffalump, which not only randomizes every button combination, but also doesn't show you the entire button combination. So that means having to press random buttons until it works. Like I mentioned before, every new Heffalump and Woozle gets more difficult. So Piglet grows a giant beanstalk, giant not included, but it does include the Heffalump balloons from the original movie, where he finds a crank that he could use to lower the bridge and find a key to open the boiler room. With the shovel Piglet found earlier, he puts some coal into the machine and presses a button to turn on the machine. Rabbit then gets pushed into a mine cart, or carrot cart if you will, but after flicking the switch, the carrot cart takes off, only to be stopped by a gate.
Piglet, what's going on? Just push down on the wooden log to open the gate for me.
So that's exactly what he does, until the cart comes to a complete stop, as Piglet helps Rabbit out of the said cart, ending the level. Finally. At last we have Tigger's dream. Tigger's embarrassed because of his lack of stripes, which according to him, would make him a second-rate Tigger. At least he wouldn't be like this. I actually like how those trees have Tigger stripes, and for a GameCube game, the graphics look pretty good. Not only do the dream levels match the overall mood and embodiment of each character, but also the characters look very well in 3D, even though the game was released a year after Kingdom Hearts. As Tigger hides in a tree hut where Roo can't reach him, Roo hops into a snow cave, which Piglet can't go unless he uses the mirror to reflect the sun rays to melt the snow, where he does find Roo. Since Roo was unable to reach Tigger from a very tall height, the only way to get to him is to get to the other side of the hut. While sweeping up leaves, revealing an entrance, Piglet must defeat the last new Heffalump in this game, the Road Sweeper Heffalump. Though not as difficult as the Mirror Heffalump, you can still hardly see what buttons to push. Eventually he finds Rabbit in an ice cave with warm water and a campfire, who's searching for a large seed that could grow a giant carrot that only comes out during the winter.
And it's very hard to find them.
12 seconds later.
Look at this! A giant carrot seed!
So as a reward, Rabbit gives Piglet his hot water bottle. Meanwhile, Pooh tries to follow a butterfly, but his rumbly-tumbly prevents him from doing so. As such, Piglet gives Pooh some honey, but he still needs some more. But wait, there's also icicles in the way. Well, if screaming loudly doesn't work, then maybe a higher voice like Roo should work. So once again, it's time for Metal Gear Pooh, Pooh perfecting the Joestar secret technique. This is without a doubt the most difficult one yet. Well, with Pooh that is. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. If at any point you get scared by a Heffalump, then you have to start that section all over again. I'm mostly referring to this area right here where you have to traverse a maze filled with Heffalumps. If you make one tiny mistake, then say hello to your nightmare for the day. But if you manage to stay low without running into anything, then you'll more than likely be fine. Eventually he'll arrive at a bridge that's yet to be drawn down.
Oh well, never mind. I shall go see Piglet again. Perhaps he has another pot of honey for me.
Pooh rolls down the snow hill, actually breaking the ice barrier, as Piglet somehow gives him another pot of honey. This gives Piglet complete revenge over the Heffalumps that tried to once again scare our Pooh Bear. Oh, so apparently scaring away the Woozles in that small area draws the bridge for Piglet to cross. And look, there's Roo! He tells Piglet that the only way to get up to Tigger's tree hut is to find a whoopee flower, which is good for bouncing really high. By the way, the seed in which to grow it is inside frozen ice, which can be melted away with Rabbit's hot water bottle. So they arrive at the tree hut where they find Tigger, still sad over his stripe loss.
And a Tigger with no stripes is the worstest kind of a Tigger. I guess I'll just have to be a stripeless Tigger forever.
You know, I hate to admit it, it's the most sad Tigger's ever been. I've never seen him cry before.
Yeah, when was the last time I've seen Tigger cry? In fact, just thinking about it actually makes me want to cry.
Oh, it's okay, gamer. I know exactly what you're going through.
You really mean that?
Yep.
Hey dudes, you're not gonna believe... Oh my gosh! Are you Eeyore?
Hello, my name's Eeyore. Thanks for noticing me.
Well, my name is OddGamer, but you can call me Hux.
Hello, Hux.
Nice meeting you. So, Gamer, what game are you playing?
Oh, hey, Hux. Right now I'm playing Piglet's Big Game.
Based on the animated movie?
Yes! How did you know that?
Dude, I loved that movie when I was the pup. So where are you at right now?
Well, right now I'm at...
Huh? What's the matter, Gamer?
I don't know. Eeyore, would you care to explain, Hux, what's going on?
Sure thing, Gamer. Apparently my good friend Tigger's upset because he lost his stripes, and it turns out thinking about it makes the gamer feel down in the dumps.
I see what you mean. It really is upsetting when a character you love and admire loses something that's important.
Yeah, but I'm okay now.
Well, that's great! Anyway, later, dudes!
Now, where was I? Oh yeah! Poor Tigger.
But don't you worry, because Piglet is here to get his stripes back. And luckily Tigger remembers seeing his stripes bounce off to the carnival. Ticket entry required. However, a giant ball is in the way. So Piglet would need something sharp, like a dart, to pop the ball. You know what that means? That's right, backtracking! With a magnet, Piglet gets the dart and makes his way back to Tigger's house to do just that. So now Roo and Piglet can make their way to the carnival. Roo tells Piglet that Tigger's stripes are in the haunted house, but the gate is locked. The only way to unlock the gate is to find 4 symbols and place them in each painting. But Piglet has to find 3 symbols because Roo managed to find one lying in the ground. How will Piglet find these symbols? By scaring off heffalumps and woozles, of course. Eventually Piglet finds the remaining 3 symbols and places them in each painting, therefore opening up the gate to the haunted mansion.
Welcome, foolish Piglet, to the haunted mansion.
So Piglet finds a candle to light up the room, and suddenly small versions of Tigger stripes appear for Piglet to catch. They move as fast as Tigger, and catching them under a time limit is harder than it looks. So even though you have multiple attempts to catch all Tigger stripes, you have to light up both candles every time, making it more strenuous than it needs to be. Luckily it took me 4 attempts in about 5 minutes, so it's not that bad as long as you know what you're doing. So with all of Tigger's stripes acquired, you can now safely bring them back to Tigger and possibly end this long dream. After defeating more heffalumps, Piglet finds Roo, who finds a message from Tigger saying that he somehow locked himself inside the haunted mansion, so nobody can look at him without his stripes. Which means,
to the haunted house!
Piglet makes his way back and oh great, this guy again? Alright, let's scare him off again, thankfully for the last time. At the haunted house, Piglet encounters the very last new woozle to face, the sporty woozle, that has a hard-on for tennis. These woozles are surprisingly difficult because not only can they move pretty fast, but they can also alter any direction or button while in grimace mode. Eventually he scares them off and manages to have Tigger's stripes bounce back to Tigger himself, making him a very happy Tigger. Tigger thanks Piglet for getting back his stripes, as well as his bravery and heroic work.
Does this mean the game is over now?
That's what they want you to think, Eeyore, but it's not over yet.
Oh boy, what else do they have left?
You see, while you and your friends were sleeping, you never realized that the rain came down in rushing, rising rivulets. But Piglet remembered what Christopher Robin once told him at the beginning of the game.
To overcome your fears, you must believe in yourself.
This leads to the final level of the game, and quite possibly the most difficult one yet. All you have to do is quickly rescue your friends from heffalumps and woozles coming towards them. But first things first, be sure to quickly grab the necessary items to cross each island. It's best to start with saving Owl because all you have to do is, well, nothing. Just let the cutscene play while the heffalumps and woozles freeze in place.
Oh, Owl, in your book of memories, there's a picture of you fleeing from monsters by flying.
By flying? Oh, how silly of me, of course! Flying! Right you are! I'm coming, Piglet!
Well, that was easy. Before moving on, keep in mind that each Heffalump and Woozle has 3 lives, which means you have to scare off each Heffalump and Woozle 3 times. So you better be quick on button combinations without making any mistakes, and have a good amount of distance for each enemy in case you do make a mistake. By the way, I forgot to mention that you can always stop the fight in order to gain more distance. Once again, strategy can come into play. So moving on, we have Roo and the fast-paced Heffabee. Piglet can make a log bridge by kicking Roo's ball at a loose log, and then he can scare off the bee. Finally, with Pooh's honey pot, Piglet can scare off the Heffalump, and Pooh returns the favor by carrying Piglet across the river. But that's just part 1. Here comes part 2. Piglet has to save Tigger from another sporty Woozle by surfing on a Tigger plank.
Surf's up, dudes!
Then Rabbit from a Tuba Heffalump, as well as a Slot Machine Heffalump, again, quickly and with no mistakes. And finally Eeyore from the Mirror Woozle by crossing a single rock bridge. You know, it would have been better if you had the option of choosing multiple Brave Faces rather than using one Brave Face throughout the entire level. But then again, that's just me.
You know, you really did need to save me from that Woozle, gamer. Though to be honest, nothing really scares me much. Well, except for that.
Uh-huh. Also, remember the one time when Piglet scared you in the scary woods?
Well, I did feel a bit concerned. It's not every day when the wind calls out your name with no one around. But I did learn a valuable lesson that day.
Getting a little spooked does give you a charge, long as it's with your friend.
Yep, I'll never forget it.
At long last, Piglet's friends get to see what Piglet was frightened of from the beginning. The dreaded Granosaurus. And it's actually a piece of cake. Just scare off the Granosaurus 3 times with your Brave Face and the game is finally over. So including the final boss, the Granosaurus, and minus the one Woozle with Owl, you have to scare off not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not even 6,
but 7 monsters with neither a Christopher Robin balloon to save your life, nor checkpoints.
Which means if at any point you get scared 3 times, or if any monster scares off your friends, then you have no choice but to start the level all over again. Jeez, couldn't this level be even more difficult? Although, I was actually shocked that I managed to scare off the Granosaurus in 1 run, on my very first try. That is unbelievable. So not only did Pooh and friends thank Piglet for saving them from Heffalumps, Woozles, and the dreaded Granosaurus, but they also believed that he was very brave to perform a stunt like that. Worrying that anything would happen to Christopher Robin comes by and acknowledges Piglet for facing his fears, making him very proud. Knowing that they would all be hungry after a brave adventure like this one, Christopher Robin had provided a picnic for our brave hero, Piglet.
And so it was that Piglet had become a hero to all his friends. And he would never again think that he was too small or too frightened.
And that concludes the story mode for this game. But there is still more to talk about.
First off, each of the dream levels have an extra mode, which allows Piglet to capture any enemy in every area within a short time limit. While there are no extra rewards to find, at least this game has some replayability, which makes it more fun. Also, it gives you a chance to find more cookies that you couldn't previously find. Finally, you can watch video clips, whether they're cutscenes from the game or clips from the movie. Nowadays they're kind of pointless because you can easily watch it on VHS, DVD, and even on Disney+.
Seems pretty typical, gamer.
Yeah, it kinda does the more I think about it.
So what did you think of the game?
Well, I don't want to be a downer, Eeyore, but I actually like this game.
Even though the game doesn't follow the same plot from the movie, it does show how Piglet's heroism evolves by saving his friends in their dreams. And for a kid's game, it actually works pretty well. The overall graphics look incredible for a GameCube game. The dream levels specifically capture the mood and atmosphere of each of the characters, such as the Land of Sweets for Pooh, a cardboard playland for Roo, a library theme for Owl, the dark and creepy atmosphere for Eeyore, gardening for Rabbit, and the 4 seasons for Tigger. Plus, the overall game aesthetic follows the cartoon very well. You could even say the same thing with the characters. While there are 1 or 2 things about the models that bother me, I don't think it affects the overall look of the characters. They look exactly like what you see in the cartoon, which gives it more memorability. While the overall gameplay is pretty simple, it's actually executed very well, especially for a kid's game. The controls are easy to follow, the puzzles have variety, which I enjoy, and the lack of violence when fighting against hefflumps and woozles does fit perfectly with the target audience. And while replaying the levels triggers a different mode, you can still go back and find more cookies in areas that you may have missed. Overall, Piglet's Big Game is a game I would definitely recommend to kids of all ages, as well as those who are into the Pooh stories. This game clearly shows that whether the plots from both the game and its source material match or not, they both share a compelling lesson. If you believe in yourself, no matter what size you are, you will ultimately become a hero.
Well, I'm glad you like this game, because so do I.
You really think so?
Yep, and I couldn't have done it without you, gamer. Anyway, I better head back to the 100-acre wood. I'm sure Pooh and his friends are worried about me.
Alright, see you later, Eeyore.
So long, gamer. Oh, and gamer?
Yes, Eeyore?
Thanks for noticing me.
Isn't that nice? You know, because I review this game based on recent events, I wonder what else is making headlines nowadays.
American actor Johnny Depp has scored a win against his former wife Amber Heard.
Virginia jury has found that Amber Heard defamed her ex-husband Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp being awarded $15 million.
The jury unanimously sided with each of Johnny Depp's claims against his ex-wife.
Well, thanks to the headlines, I will hereby dedicate this next review to Johnny Depp on a successful court case win. I'm the Fairly Odd Gamer, and I wish you all good luck for the rest of your day or night, wherever you are. Take care, everyone.
How's it going, dudes? OddGamer here. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon if you want to get notified for upcoming videos.
Well said, Hux. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and some of my character buddies on TikTok. And if you'd like, you can have one of my character buddies do a short video for you via video commission. Links to all of those in the description below. And so, without further ado, I wish that one of my character buddies finished off the video.
Hello, my name's Eeyore. Thanks for noticing me. If you liked what you just seen and want to help support the Fairly Odd Gamer, you could do so with Patreon. By supporting, you can talk with special fans, supporters, and those who've helped down the channel, have your name featured in the credits, and even watch some bonus content. Sneak peek, early showing, who knows. Also, thanks for noticing me, Flash Figure, and to you as well for watching this video and supporting the channel. Gosh, I wish I had all that stuff. Oh well. I'm just gonna stay in my gloom place.